Circle C is shown on the coordinate grid. This is circle C. Based on the information, what is the equation of circle C? So the question is asking us for the equation of circle C. So whenever a question asks you for the equation of a circle, you're going to copy that on your show work page. So we're going to write on our show work page equation of circle. That's the equation of circle. Now you can get the equation of circle on our formula sheet. So if you go to your formula sheet, right here, you will notice where it says equation of a circle. And this is the equation of a circle that we are going to be using to create our equation. So we're going to copy that on our page. X minus h all square plus y minus k all square equal r square. All right. Now, to create the equation of a circle, we need two things. We need the coordinate for the center, and the center is right here. And we also need the radius of that particular circle. So let's write down the two things that we need. We need the center, okay? And we need the radius from the circle. So let's look at the radius. The radius in the formula is represented by r. So this r right here is the radius. Now the radius, it goes from the center of your circle to the circumference. So from here to here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to count how many blocks or how many units is that, all right? So if we count from the center, we're going to have 1, 2, 3. So our radius have a length of 3 units. So where it says radius, we're going to put 3. All right. Now you could also go this direction as well. You would still get 3. 1, 2, 3. Or you could even go down. 1, 2, 3. Or you could go to the left. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's going to be the radius. It has to go from the center and it must touch the circle, the circumference. All right, so that's 3. Now we're going to go to the center and we want the coordinates for the center. So this right here is the center. So we want the x coordinate, and notice that this is your x-axis. So the x coordinate has to come from this particular line. And we also are going to need the y coordinate for this circle. So up here is going to be your y-axis. And we're going to get our y value along this axis. All right. So when we say the coordinate of the center, you're going to go to the center and then you're going to go to your x. So when you go right here, your x number right here is going to be 2. So you're going to have x and you're going to put 2, comma. So now we're going to go and we're going to, on here, we're going to locate the y value. All right. So if I continue right here, your y value right here would have to be 1. Okay. So this center is in the location of 2, positive 2, and positive 1. And remember, when you are writing the coordinates of any point, you must write the x first. So you cannot have 1 and then 2. You have to first write the x value and then second your y value. All right. So now that we have our center of our circle and we have the radius, we're going to use those to create the equation. All right. So if you look in the equation, we're going to have parentheses x. Now, this right here, the H and the K, it just represents the coordinates of the center. So this represents a number. And this K represents a number. And those numbers we get from our center. All right? So notice where this says X right here in the equation. So we want to put beside the X value. Now, something that you need to note. Right here, this is my X, and the X value here is 2. It's a positive 2. When you are writing the equation, it's always the opposite. So the opposite of a positive 2 would be a negative 2. All right? So even though it has 2, you're going to put a negative 2 right here. So we're going to have negative 2, close parentheses, you write back your square, plus, open parentheses, you write your y. So notice beside the y, we need to put the y coordinate. This y is a positive 1. When you're writing the equation, it's always the opposite. So the opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. So we're going to put negative 1 right here. It's good? Then we continue. Make sure you put the square equal. Now this says R. What is R? R is the radius of your circle. So our radius is going to be 3. And then you have to put that square at the top. So it says R square. So we're going to have 3 square. So we're going to work this out in your calculator, and then we're going to rewrite this. So now we're going to have X minus 2 all square plus parentheses y minus 1 all square equal. So please, 3 square, always verify with your calculator. 3 square does not mean 3 times 2. No. So that's why use your calculator. You might say, oh, that's too easy. Use your calculator. 3 square. So you go to your calculator. You're going to put 3. And then you put this to get the square. 3 square is equal to 9. What this means, it means 3 multiply 3. So 3 square is 9. And this would be the answer. This is the equation of the circle. We are finished. So remember, if the center, if this is positive, you're going to write negative. If it is negative, you put positive. It's always the opposite. That's it. All right? So we have one more to do. All right, this one. It says the equation of a circle is given. What is the center and its radius? So from the previous, so you're going to remember that this value right here and this right here is where we get our center. Okay? So this is where we get our center. And from this one, out here is where we get our radius. So we can get our radius. You know, it provides us with the radius. All right. So to get the radius, we would have to have the square root of that number. Okay? All right. So now if we want the center, this is going to represent by the X. So we're going to have for the center, you're going to put X, comma, Y. So beside the X, that means the X value is going to be a 5. Now right here, it is a negative 5. And remember I told you it's always opposite. So the opposite of a negative 5 will be a positive 5. So my X is going to be a positive 5. Now for my y, notice that this is my y, And right here, it has a positive 3. For when you see a positive 3, you do the opposite. So opposite of positive 3 is going to be a negative 3. And this is going to be your center from the equation. Now, your radius, you got to be careful. Your radius is not 9. Remember, in the equation, we had to square it. So like if you go up here, what we did was we took the radius and then we square it. So this is the radius, not the 2. Okay? So, and then we got the 9. So we're going to have to do the reverse. So in short, to get what the radius is, you'll take this. And you're just going to have square root of 9. And you put that in your calculator. So if you go to your calculator, you can put square root. Sorry, not that one. To get the square root, you press Control and this one, 9. So square root of 9 is equal to 3. So it therefore means that the radius has to be 3. Because if we have r square, 3 square, we will get the 9. Okay? And that's how you do it. We are finished. So just remember, it's always opposite. -5, +5. +3, -3.